Good afternoon. Thank you for coming. Before we get started, would someone be kind enough to refill my cup of coffee? You're all smiling because we don't have a coffee maker in the classroom. And that's the topic of today's speech, coffee in the classroom. During a recent in-class survey, more than 50% of this classroom self-identified as coffee drinkers. We varied and were separated into groups based on whether or not we liked cream in our coffee or lattes or cappuccinos, but we were identified as coffee drinkers nonetheless. And I believe that we would see similar numbers if the entire campus was surveyed. America is a coffee-consuming nation. And it's not all bad. Contrary to popular myth and a lot of Hollywood, the typical coffee drinker isn't just this jittery guy that can't focus and stays awake for hours on end throughout the night. In fact, research shows that coffee increases alertness and concentration. A 2008 study found that coffee users outperformed non-users in cognition, alertness, and physical endurance. I myself can testify to the physical endurance aspect. As a distance runner, I often compete in local races, 5K and half marathon races, and I have found that I can last and perform much better if I drink a cup of coffee immediately prior to a race. My muscles do not get so tired. But we're in college, and aside from the physical endurance aspect, we're in a very demanding atmosphere. Students and faculty alike have a lot of demands in this college. We're running from classroom to classroom. I have some professors that run from college to college. I just came from a classroom, a computer class, where the professor always walks in with a cup of coffee in her hand. And it seems like she's always on the run. And so are the students in the classroom. We are under a lot of stress in college. We're juggling classes, schedules, families. Some of us have children, outside jobs. And it's so nice for many of us to have that little pick-me-up in the morning and throughout the day to perform well. Currently, there's only about 3 places on campus that we have access to coffee. We have the Building 5 cafeteria, the main cafeteria, which also has a Starbucks next door, and the Student Services building. The average price for a cup of coffee is about $1.80, which is really pretty pricey because if you drink 3 or 4 cups a day, then it's easy to spend $5, $6, and that, if you save that much money, you're talking about $1 million if it was properly invested over decades. I believe that we as a college, students and faculty alike, would benefit if we had coffee available inside each individual classroom so that we could just go up to the back of the room, grab a cup of coffee. Based on the studies, I feel that we would have increased test scores. Professors would have more cognitive students. I don't know how many of you have seen students fall asleep in class. I've been in several classes where they do. I think that we could all benefit from it. We could give classroom instructors the authority over deciding if, when, or how they would have coffee available in their classrooms. A contribution-based system could be set up to fund the purchase of the coffee, as well as the miscellaneous items such as cups and cream. Some classrooms could potentially vote to maybe rent a latte machine I don't know. There'd certainly be a lot of options available there. This type of program would give students the option to maybe collaborate and support something like purchasing of organic coffee or fair trade-based coffee. Options that we don't currently have with the current system where we just go to the cafeteria and buy the coffee. But now that I've discussed with you my proposal and my views on it, I would really like to hear yours, your input on this. Do you think coffee, would you personally like to have coffee available in the classroom? Do you feel that you would benefit? Yes.
I think it would be neat too, but two things are, would it be like a distraction, like during class, like if students got up and, like, could they get it maybe, or would that be something like, that the teacher would say, at the start of class, like, only at the very beginning, or at the end, could you get coffee? But then also the second thing is, like, who would pay for all the coffee that was in the classrooms?
Yeah, I understand. You raised some very valid points. Rules would clearly have to be established, and we would have to collaborate to determine funding, for sure. Yes?
I was going to say the same thing about the cost. I mean, it'd be extremely expensive to put a coffee maker in every single classroom in here. Plus, if the coffee was free, I mean, they'd have to constantly be buying coffee. I just think there's probably better ways money could be spent than just like food school, like for scholarships or something, than just for coffee.
I understand. Yeah, I understand that money certainly could be spent elsewhere that could benefit students besides purchasing coffee just for the half that drink it, right? Yeah. Any other thoughts or concerns?
I'm kind of on the same page of distraction and the cleaning. Who would, there would be a machine that stays there. I work at Starbucks and Target, so I understand there's a lot of cleaning with coffee and mass production on it. I'm curious who would clean it. I definitely think more coffee should be available in the school. I get my coffee over in building 13, and it's usually almost empty by the time I get there. So definitely more coffee make it in the school, but maybe not necessarily.
So you see a need for coffee, for increased availability of coffee, but if there's in the classroom, there have to be proper hygiene, cleaning, sanitation of the equipment. Yeah. Well, anyone else? Yes?
I just have to say that to address the fact of people getting up and down from an instructor's perspective, it wouldn't really bother me. I mean, that's my opinion. Because I'm used to being at conferences where, they have water and coffee set up in the breakout rooms when we go to a lecture or something, and people are continuously leaving the room and, coming and going, getting up and down. So I think that as a public speaker, you begin to get used to that. So if it became a stationary item in the classroom, I think that we would adjust. And then it would be, like you said, up to the classroom manager to set rules for, make sure like when students are speaking, you don't get up and stuff like that. So, I mean, I see positives, and I see that it might be able to be something that would work.
So as a member of faculty, you see potential positives from it as long as it was controlled by the individual classroom instructors.
As long as, it's thoroughly investigated. I think you mentioned that earlier, that it's kind of like you're in an exploration phase right now, so.
Okay, those are great points. Does anyone else have any input? Okay, well, I'd like to thank you all for those that asked questions, as well as for those present, for your time and for coming here. We've discussed the potential benefits of having coffee in the classroom, as well as the potential negatives, and there was a lot of input about ensuring that there was proper protocol, proper research done into it, and especially the sanitation issue. But it's certainly worthy of further investigation, I think. But again, thank you for your time.